Luka, how did it just feel? Your first game since obviously the way that you played for Slovenia, it looked like that translated pretty quickly for you and the rhythm that you found. But how did you feel?
I feel great. I felt great. I was probably better than I expected. Those first games are kind of rusty, but I was just very happy to be out there again.
Couple just new players that weren't on the team last year, obviously, that were out there with you, and Smart and Ayton. Wondered what you saw from each on both ends of the court.
Both were great. Obviously it's preseason. Obviously we're just getting started, but they were both great. Day's gaining his rhythm. It was Marcus' first game back, so kind of expecting a little rustiness. But I'm just happy to share the court with those guys.
Before the game, JJ spoke to the comfortability that he kind of sees in you, and getting back to how he saw you when he was your teammate in Dallas, just kind of the way that you are and the fun and the approach and how that translates to the court. Do you feel like that, or are you, now that you're able to mirror that of getting actually onto the basketball court?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously I had to carry JJ when he was my teammate. He couldn't move at all, so I had to carry him big time. No, but all seriousness, I feel that way. I think just getting out there playing basketball for me is amazing. I missed it. I think you can see those fullness. I'm just happy to be on the basketball court again.
You're smiling when you're talking about playing, and AR was telling us that you had a shot in practice the other day that was like one-legged, falling out of bounds, 35 feet, almost went in, but he told you, like, hey, man, sometimes it's not a great quality to think you can make every shot. How do you kind of balance that? Obviously it is a game that you're playing, but also working within the team structure to get the best shot possible for the Lakers.
Yeah, obviously, at some point there's going to be heat checks for me, for sure. I kind of like that, where there's going to be heat checks from other guys too. But just trying to balance that rhythm between get a better shot or just some crazy shot. Obviously, I need to work on that. Sometimes a little bit too much, but getting there.
Luka, anybody who's watched you play knows what your responsibility is on the court. I'm curious, though, at this stage in your career, how you view your responsibility in the locker room, on the practice floor, when it comes to, like, trading jerseys with Vando or building connections with Rui and different things like that. How intentional have you been with that, with kind of your first crack with this group of teammates versus sort of last year just getting dropped into this?
Yeah, I think this year, for my part, it wasn't intentional. It just kind of happened, And those things, if you want to build those things, you can't just force it. And those things just happen. And we've been having a preseason. The chemistry is great, and for us to be great, we need to have a great chemistry.
Getting on the floor, and then the second. Probably seeing a lot of the things that you wanted to see in the first half, Luka and Marcus getting on the floor, and then, the second half not being as crisp and as sharp, but probably groups of guys that aren't going to play together a ton. How do you balance the kind of the pluses and the minuses?
It's very simple, actually. We're trying to form consistent habits, and so if you're trying to do that, that means everybody. It doesn't mean three guys. You need everybody doing that. And thought there were some really good things we did tonight on both ends of the floor. There were some possessions in the first half where, we were able to execute multiple square to reds, multiple pick and rolls, finish with a block out. Thought our throw aheads in the first half were fantastic. But if you want to be a good team, you got to do it every single time. You got to do the right thing every single time, and that's where I don't think any of the groups tonight were as consistent as they need to be. And to me, we took a step forward with some of the defensive stuff from the other night against Golden State, and we took a step backwards tonight, and that's, I think, a little bit frustrating.
Specifically for Luka and Marcus Smart, since it was their preseason debut, what did you make of both of their games?
I thought Marcus was very physical and tenacious. Would have liked to have gotten him a shot, at least one, in 20 minutes. That's where I think just, fooling around with the game a little bit. Didn't like some of the no pass possessions and some of the shot selection. And then Luka, he did some good things. I said at halftime to you, he had 2 opportunities to score right at the rim in the first half and try to make the pass to DA for the lob. And I think just first time, trying to work that partnership. But I like what I saw from him, and I like what I saw from Marcus.
JJ, that sort of pick and roll partnership, you can fast track it. I in some ways, I'm sure I try to, like you said, like your daily vitamin sessions and things like that. But like, does it really take like just repetition on nights like this to get as in sync as it needs to be?
Yes, and 2 goes back to the small interactions. I thought for most of the game we were really good with that, player to player, and there has to be, like, it's my job to help problem solve, and that's what a coach does, right? We problem solve, but some of that problem solving in real time has to happen on the court, and that's where I think there's some really positive trends for our team.
We didn't really get a chance to talk to you about this because it happened in the offseason, but you guys, to make this team come together, had to make a decision on Jordan Goodwin. Obviously, he's a guy that you trusted in a big role in your first year on the sidelines, and I know you guys are still in touch. You mentioned texting with him prior to the first preseason game you guys played. Just what do you make of his game, what he's doing for the Suns, and just the business of basketball that you weren't able to keep him with the program?
Yeah, Goody and I talked about that, and it's just the nature of how things played out this summer. I don't know how much I can say like about that, but I love Goody. I love coaching him. To me, he's an NBA player, and I think there's probably every coach in the league would love to have a guy like him. Just no nonsense, plays hard, great teammate, does all the stuff that as a coach it's sometimes hard to ask guys to do because it's not glamorous, and he just embraces it. And I've seen him play enough, and I've watched him as his coach, and I've seen him prior. Not surprised that he was, able to have a really strong offensive night.
And looking ahead to tomorrow, Jackson, Gabe, Rui, Vander didn't play tonight. Safe to assume they will play tomorrow.
Yes.
And would that mean AR, Luka, DA, someone else would not play?
Yeah, we're still going to make some decisions on that. We obviously want to be smart with 4 games and 6 nights in the preseason. So we'll make those decisions. But the guys that sat tonight that are healthy will play tomorrow.
JJ, you mentioned some of those small interactions, getting better at those. What are some of those moments that come to your mind, at least for tonight?
I think there was some stuff defensively on dead balls where I saw guys talking, trying to fix things. I know DA just in the last 3 or 4 days is really starting to get vocal on the court, and he was that again tonight. I think Luka and AR, it's their biggest point of development this season. Just growing as on-court leaders and off-court leaders.
You mentioned pregame kind of the mental space that Luka's been in that kind of allows him to find that weird sort of mix of like joy and rage, and did you see that tonight? Did it look like the guy you had seen prior? Did it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like even in small moments.
No, he's a weirdo. Yeah, it's the skipping up the court and stuff. I think it's good, and that's not to say he has an ability to do what I would call it like silly stuff, but still be locked in. It's important to him that basketball is fun, and I've talked about this a lot in the last since I was his teammate, but he's at play. And that's part of what makes him great. It's a discovery process of play every single time he takes the court. And there's certain things that you have to be okay with. There's certain things that are non-negotiable in terms of accountability. And that's why he's such a pleasure to coach, because he allows me to do that while still giving him the freedom to take one-legged shots.
Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves shine bright against the Suns. The Los Angeles Lakers finally picked up their first preseason win in a rematch against the Golden State Warriors. But with a back-to-back stretch on the schedule, a rarity in preseason, the team had little time to celebrate. On Tuesday night, they faced off against the Phoenix Suns in another opportunity to make a statement. The Lakers were short-handed in their first outing, and while key players sat again, all eyes were on Luka Doncic, who made his long-awaited preseason debut. Head coach J.J. Redick had previously stated that Doncic would be on a minutes restriction after his summer run at Eurobasket 2025, but on Tuesday, the team gave the green light and Doncic delivered. While the Lakers ultimately fell 113-104, the scoreboard felt like an afterthought. Doncic picked up exactly where he left off in international play, poised, in control, and downright dominant. From the opening tip, it was clear the Suns had no answer for him. Doncic orchestrated the offense with ease, scoring at will and setting up teammates with precision. At times, it felt like he was toying with defenders, controlling the game at his own pace. He finished the night with 25 points, 7 rebounds, and for assists, shooting 7 for 15 from the field and 4 for 8 from beyond the arc. He checked out for good in the third quarter, having already made his presence felt. And while Doncic was the headliner, Austin Reeves continued his impressive preseason campaign, proving once again that he can shine alongside another star. Phoenix tried to disrupt his rhythm with physical defense, but Reeves didn't flinch. Whether slashing to the rim, getting to the free throw line, or knocking down jumpers, he played with confidence and control. Reeves matched Doncic's 25 points on 8 of -16 shooting and added 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block in another all-around performance. Veteran Marcus Smart made his preseason debut as well, though he took a back seat offensively as he works his way back into game shape. In 20 minutes of action, he didn't attempt a shot, but his defensive presence was felt. DeAndre Ayton quietly put together another solid showing, recording a double-double with 10 points and 13 rebounds, along with an assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. A strong effort on both ends of the floor. On the Suns' side, Jared Butler stole the spotlight with a game-high 35 points, while former Laker Jordan Goodwin added 24 points and 6 assists in a revenge-minded performance. What's next for the Lakers? The Lakers are back at it on Wednesday night in Las Vegas, taking on the Dallas Mavericks in a rare preseason back-to-back. They'll then wrap up their exhibition schedule at home on Friday, when they face the Sacramento Kings. With the regular season around the corner, the momentum is building and the stars are starting to shine. What comes next for the Lakers? With their next preseason game coming fast, the Lakers face the Dallas Mavericks in Las Vegas, a matchup carrying more weight than the average exhibition game. This contest will mark Luka Doncic's first appearance against his former team since the midseason trade that shocked the league. While the preseason is typically about rotations and rhythm, the emotional undercurrent of this reunion adds an undeniable intensity. Doncic will likely see limited minutes again, but every moment on the court will be closely watched by fans and analysts alike. The Mavericks, meanwhile, are treating the game as a full dress rehearsal. With Kyrie Irving sidelined for the season due to a torn ACL, Dallas is relying heavily on a younger core to carry the offensive load. Their focus is on cohesion and filling leadership gaps, a theme that mirrors the Lakers' own challenges. For Los Angeles, injury updates are shaping the early storylines. LeBron James is expected to miss the beginning of the regular season, sidelined by a sciatic nerve issue. That puts more responsibility on Doncic to lead, not just as a scorer, but as the engine of the offense. The Lakers' coaching staff is already making adjustments to accommodate this shift in dynamic. Rookie forward Adu Thero is still recovering from a knee injury and has yet to debut in the preseason. Though he's progressing in rehab, he won't be re-evaluated for another few weeks, raising concerns about the team's frontcourt depth heading into the regular season. Veteran Marcus Smart, though defensively active in his first appearance, has not yet found his rhythm offensively. Still, his leadership on the floor and experience in high-pressure settings remain valuable assets as the team works through early inconsistencies. The Lakers will wrap up their preseason at home against the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento, however, will be without forward Keegan Murray, who recently underwent thumb surgery and is expected to miss over a month. That may shift the balance in the Lakers' favor as they look to close the preseason with momentum. Looking ahead as the regular season approaches, several key takeaways are emerging. Doncic's integration. His early performances suggest he's already in mid-season form, and his chemistry with Austin Reeves could be a major strength. Injury management. With LeBron out and other players easing back in, the team's ability to manage minutes while building chemistry will be a major storyline. Supporting cast. Players like Reeves, Ayton, and Smart will need to shoulder more of the load, especially in the opening weeks of the season. Team identity. With a new coach and a restructured roster, the Lakers are still figuring out their identity, but early signs suggest a team with high offensive potential and growing defensive discipline. With just 2 games left before the season officially begins, every possession counts not on the scoreboard, but in setting the tone for what's to come.